The following program contains explicit Christian values. If you suffer from the notion that all views deserve respect, Randall may not be right for you. Check with a progressive.
Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. There's just something about that name. Master, Savior, Jesus, like the fragrance after the rain. Jesus, Jesus.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If we went into some type of a meltdown, say a crisis happened in any given city, your city, if you could not get to a grocery store for 3 days, or for 7 days, or for 14 days, what would you do for water and for food? And heaven forbid, what if it was a month, or 2, or 3? I'll be right back. I just got an autographed copy of Dragon Slayers from Randall Terry. Look at this. Look. I'm so excited. I'm more excited than when I received my autographed Spider-Man copy from Stan Lee. Stan Lee. Welcome to today's program, friend. We are trying to have a little bit of fun, just a little, as we discuss how you and I and our families can be prepared. Be prepared. The wise man sees danger approaching and prepares for it. The fool or the imprudent just passes on and suffers for it. We're in the middle of a multi-part series dealing with preparation against the hard times that I believe are coming and many people believe are coming. You don't have to be a prophet to see that the finances of this country are on a slow and steady path toward imploding, all right? Beyond that, you have the ethical issues of killing children and the blood crying out from the ground, the militant homosexual agenda decimating, mocking the truth about marriage, and so forth. So if you missed episode 1, I encourage you to go to the archives and see it because it deals with the biblical and Christian foundation of the impending judgment that may be coming upon us. So there are 6 B's. Let us quickly review those 6 B's. 1, your belief, all right? That'd be God. 2, bread. 3, bandages. 4, bullion. 5, bullets. 6, your bug out bag. We're going to talk more about B for bread today. Before I do, I want to reiterate, I know that most of my viewers live in a city or very close to a city. The preparations that you need to do are a little bit different than some of us who live in the country. All of the 6 B's are going to be critical, all right? The issue is, where do you store them? How much of them do you have? What it will be your water source if there is a crisis that lasts for 1 day, 2 days, 2 weeks, a month? How do you get out of the city? When do you bug in and hunker down? When do you bug out? These are things that we'll talk about in the coming shows. But if you don't have oxygen, you die in 5 or 6 minutes. If you don't have water, you die in 3 or 4 days. If you don't have food, you're going to die around day 40, maybe early 40s. You've got to have food. We talked yesterday about a wheat mill. You can buy a 50-pound bag of wheat for about $25. and that 50-pound bag of wheat will make over 50 loaves of bread. My wife and I have been making our own bread. My wife makes it. I just help butter it. She's been baking bread from raw wheat berries, to fresh baked bread inside of 2 hours for about 5 years now. And it's under $1 a loaf. And you can literally live on it for months, probably years, because it has every basic nutrient that your body needs, with the exception of vitamin C. And when you put a dough enhancer in there, it has vitamin C in it, and it's delicious, all right? Paula's Bread is one of our sponsors, and I heartily encourage you to get your own. We do not sell this unit. We showed this unit because it's a good unit. This one will work if there's electricity. If the electricity goes out, you attach your hand crank and crank your wheat. I want us to take a step back for people who are on a tighter budget. Right here, Del Grosso meat-flavored pasta sauce, Prego. I think there's a law somewhere that says if your name does not end in a vowel, you are not permitted by law to manufacture and sell Italian pasta sauce. My mama's a Di Pasquale, so I can make all the Italian jokes that I want. Grew up with Italian culture. But there's a phrase in the Bible dealing with the gleanings, and the phrase is this: that the poor of the land may eat. That the poor of the land may eat. This is 24 ounces of pasta sauce, all right? It goes on sale pretty regularly for $1 a jar. You can buy this for $1. You can buy a pound of pasta, which also usually is about $1.79 a pound, $1.59, but maybe once a month, once every 5 weeks, it will go on sale for $1 a pound. A family of 4 can eat and be full on $2. I want to say that again. Your pound of pasta with your 24-ounce jar of whatever flavor tomato paste, tomato sauce you want, for $2, you can eat and live for a long time. When this stuff goes on sale, I'm letting you know some of the things we do, okay? And I want to be totally honest with you. Some of the things that I'm going to discuss with you and have discussed, we have not yet put into place. Some of them we have, some of them we haven't. So this is a learning curve for me, my family, my staff. But the simple matter is, some people can't go out and buy an $800 wheat mill. Some people can't go out and buy a $300 water filtration system. And they've got to improvise, right? Like the water bob that we looked at yesterday. Part of why I'm doing this is to whet your appetite and to put baby steps in front of you that you can do to prepare yourself to be prepared, so that if bad things happen, you and your family don't go hungry or go thirsty. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue on with this B on bread. Don't go away. Hey, can somebody get me some garlic toast? I love garlic toast inside my Del Grosso. My wife and I, for 5 years, have been grinding our own wheat and baking our own bread from scratch. Within 2 hours, you can have fresh wheat in your hand and then piping hot bread come out of the oven. The most nutritious and delicious bread you will ever have. And we do it for under $1 a loaf. Call Paula's Bread and find out about this grain mill and the mixer and how it can save you money and change your life. How would you like to be able to reach hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of potential customers with your product or your company or your web-based business? Well, you can do that right here on this show. Every single day, we get phone calls or letters or orders online from states all over the country where people are watching this television show. Right now, we are seen in 45 cities at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time every night, and then a rerun again at 12:30 midnight. You can reach them using this show at advertising rates that are so inexpensive, it would blow your mind. So, if you're interested, contact us at the phone number that you see on the screen or the email address, and we can talk about how you can grow your business and help support this show. Welcome back to the program, friend. We're continuing on in our series about being prepared, following God's will, the proverb, to be prepared. By the way, today's program brought to you in part by toilet paper. While it might not be edible, it comes in handy for those things that are. Hey, all kidding aside, as you and I discuss the B's, all right, bullion is one of them. Bullion doesn't just mean silver and gold, it means tangible things that you can barter with. And if you've been watching the news, you might know that right now in Venezuela, the whole country is out of toilet paper. Literally. The Catholic Church was even talking about flying in airplane loads. Anyway, all of that to say this. Toilet paper is a very critical item for a lot of people, and it's barterable. It has inherent value. So you might be out of, say, tomato sauce, and you go to somebody and you negotiate a deal of how many cans of tomato sauce or jars of tomato sauce for how many rolls of toilet paper. Don't underestimate the value of tangible items that you cannot eat, but that might get you food when you need it. And I want to say one other thing, and thank my team here. What's in your pantry? What is your pantry made of? We're going to talk about some of these items here, but one real simple way to be ready for difficult times is if when you go to the grocery store, you normally buy 4 jars of tomato paste, buy 8, okay? If you normally buy 3 pounds of pasta, buy 6. If you normally buy a 12-pack of toilet paper, buy 2. Stock up your pantry or closet space that you have in the house with items that you like and that you want, and when they're on sale. When this tomato sauce goes on sale for $1 a jar, or pasta goes on for $1 a jar, we will buy, for our team, for our people, our friends here, family, etc., we'll buy 20 of these, 30 of them, 40 of them. Why not? It'll keep for usually a year to 2 years. Usually that's about how much you get out of it. It'll get eaten. Just keep rotating your stock, right? But then you've got it if you need it. Now, let's talk about this. You might have a Costco's or a BJ's or a Sam's Club near you. This particular item, this food storage, if my memory is correct, came from Costco's, all right? It was on sale for $75. And as you can see, I don't know, Lane, if they can see this or not, but it's 1 month, 1 person, 2,100 calories. Okay? 1 month, 1 person, 2,100 calories a day. That's a lot of calories. And what you're going to be eating in this particular product is, and by the way, this has a 20-year shelf life. 20 years, okay? So inside of here, you've got mixed vegetables, you've got instant potatoes. Let's see, you've got chicken vegetable, cheddar broccoli rice, hearty potato, beef vegetable, mixed vegetable, instant potatoes, cheesy pasta. That's about, less than $3 a day. So to get 2,200 calories for less than $3 a day, that's a good deal. So if you bought 4 of these and set them aside, if you've got a family of 4, you know that if all hell breaks loose and you've got water, okay, remember our discussion about water, well, you're going to live pretty well for a month. If you had to just hunker down in your house, there was violence in the city, and you just did not feel safe even leaving the house, you're gonna eat well as long as you've got water to add to this. On this particular item, you might remember that before the break I was talking, and in yesterday's show, talking about grinding your own wheat. Well, when you buy a 50-pound bag of wheat, if you set it in the corner, the mice might get it, moths might get it, water might get it. So what do? You buy one of these 5-gallon buckets that are made for this, and you put your wheat inside of this along with a deoxygenator, all right? And when you seal that, your wheat in that bucket is safe for 25 years. 25 years. That's pretty good. And it's an insurance policy. Again, I want to say to you, I do not want to collect on my car insurance, on my health insurance, on my house insurance, on my liability insurance, and I certainly don't want to collect on my life insurance. But I have a duty I have a biblical duty, a Christian duty to my wife, to our children, to my mom and dad. I have a duty to care for them and to provide for them. It is part of my duty. This is some of the ways that we can prepare and take care of the bee that's bred. I'm going to take a break. We've got more bee bred stuff when we come back. We might move on to bullion or something like that. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books on theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last. Welcome back, friend. And by the way, good stewardship, right? Some people might be tempted to say, well, you're buying all this stuff, and what if you never use it? Well, first of all, when my car insurance doesn't get used, the end, all right? That money is gone. When my health insurance doesn't get used, goodbye. That money's just gone. With this, however, none of it has to be wasted. I repeat, none of it. We'll eat the pasta. We'll eat the spaghetti sauce. Just keep rotating your stock. This stuff, it's good for 20 years. Let's say that this, 10 years from now, you haven't used it. Your local soup kitchen, your local rescue mission would love to have this to feed to the homeless. Doesn't get wasted. The other item that I showed you, the freeze-dried, or rather the vacuum-sealed grain, we had 7 bags of grain go bad because we didn't have it in a protected bucket, all right? The mice got to it. 50 pounds a bag, 7 bags. You better believe I was crestfallen. We paid about $23, $24 a bag. A local farmer gave us $20 a bag for it, for his chickens. Fed it to the chickens. Hogs, chickens, there's farm animals that'll eat this stuff. It doesn't have to be wasted. Think about that. All right, let's continue on with what we're talking about. Okay, these are these are dehydrated apples, all right? So you get an apple, you peel it, and then run it through a tool that is made to put them into thin slices. So after they're thin sliced, you put them in a dehydrator. Now, the dehydrator you're seeing here, I think, is the Excalibur. One thing you need to know, by the way, about dehydrators, which is really important, some dehydrators can only do fruits and vegetables. Some can do meat. So if you're a fan of different jerkies, beef jerky, goose jerky, any number of meats that you can dehydrate, you have to make sure that the dehydrator that you purchase gets the item to a hot enough temperature to make it safe, the meat safe for human consumption, because there are different temperatures when it comes to fruit. All right, so you've dehydrated your apples. This here jar is what these here apples came out of. This delightful machine is made to suck the air out of this. So you've put in your dehydrated apples in here. You put in one of these little things they're like you have in your vitamins, keep the moisture out of your vitamin bottle. You put it in, put this on, turn it on. It'll suck the oxygen out. It'll seal that little metal lid. And then voila, you have a jar of dehydrated apples. Apples are a great source of nutrition. They taste delicious, by the way. These things are really good. This handy dandy item. This is a grinder for different wheats, oats, grains. What's the name of that cereal that we were talking about off camera? Grape nuts. You could put different grains in this and grind it, and it'll come out like one of the heartier cereals that you can eat. Okay, you're not going to chew on raw wheat berries, but if you put them through this, then it would be like grape nuts, and you could do it. These are not expensive, people, and while some of your family or friends might think that you were crazy for doing it, they'll be awfully happy if you're like Gideon. I'll tell you this before we go. I got to take a break in a second. When the Midianites invaded Israel, if you look at Judges chapter 6, it says that the people of Israel turned their backs on God, and God was upset with them. So he handed them over to the Midianites. The Midianites would come in every year and steal the harvest. They would take animals, and people were starving to death. But Gideon was smart enough to figure out a way to smuggle and hide wheat, and then he was threshing the wheat in a wine press, okay, which would have been down below the surface, to keep it hidden from the Midianites. That's the one that God picked to fight the Midianites, Gideon. He was thinking of his family, right? And I'll bet that if he had been threshing wheat in a wine press, which is very unorthodox, because you're throwing up the wheat and all the chaff's coming down on you and sticking to your body, I'm sure that his family would have mocked him. But you know what? They weren't mocking him when they were eating bread because of his ingenuity and his foresight. You might be like Joseph, who saves the day someday, like he did in Egypt. I got to take a break. I'll be right back. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. Welcome back to the program, friend. We are in a multi-part series on God's wisdom for preparation against hard times. There are difficult times coming, and you want to be prepared. All right, this handy-dandy item is what some people call a hot water bath. Lane will get some really good B-roll, but if you want to put up tomatoes or fruit, you do not have to have a pressure cooker for them. A lot of vegetables, all meats, you have to have a pressure cooker, which is a very different process. But if you want to put up some strawberry preserves or whatever, or canned tomatoes, because tomatoes have a very high acid content, you can use this. My wife and I this year planted, I think, 24 tomato plants. As I said, got an Italian background. And we are going to put up tomatoes this year. We're eating them every day, loving them, enjoying them, but we're about to be inundated. We won't have enough room in our tummy to eat them all before they go bad. What will we do? We'll can them. You can do it. You can do it. I mean, again, what I'm showing you 100 years ago was standard fare. 150 years ago, you better believe people were putting stuff up. They didn't have grocery stores like we have today. And all of this is predicated on the idea that God said in His Word, the wise man sees danger approaching, sees tough times coming, if you will, and prepares for it. We want to be wise. We want to take care of our family and friends. So, and that's one other thing I'll say. If your neighbor needs a meal, you want to be able to give it to him. Not necessarily take him in your home, but give him a meal, send him on his way. All right? It's part of our Christian charity to love our neighbor as ourselves as well. I'm out of time. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll keep going with the 6 B's.